and welcome to News from the Front, Episode 5. Khador vs. Legion of Everblight. Butcher 1 vs. Vale 2. We are playing the Steamroller 2015 scenario, 2 fronts. There are 2 zones and 2 objectives inside the center of these zones. The one closest to you is your friendly objective and friendly zone. The friendly zone can only be dominated for 1 control point, while the enemy zone can be controlled for 1 control point and be dominated for 2 control points. This scenario does have kill box, as it is scenario number 2, and the first to 5 control points wins the game, or, of course, via assassination. This game is quite a long time coming. It's been sitting in my hard drive to be edited, and I finally got around to it, so here you go. This is a matchup I specifically requested because I wanted to see how the Butcher 1 gun line that I took from Kurt Heinemann and modified it slightly. I took out the assassins and put in Great Bears, Gorman, and a unit of Kayazy Eliminators, who are basically floating 3 points. And I wanted to get an idea of how the list performed, especially against somebody that has a bunch of heavies, such as Vale 2. So Legion is going first, as they won the roll-off, as you of course saw from them deploying first. So the Raefyll activates and then runs up to be inside of the friendly zone. And then the second Raefyll does the same thing, although it's not inside of the zone. And is just adjusting ever so slightly to be near the shepherds when he needs them for future turns. Then the unpainted Angelius activates, and he's debating where he's going to put it. So this Angelius runs to be behind the wall that is towards the other end of the table. Then Vale goes and she casts Occultation onto the Nyss Legionnaires, since they're staring at a bunch of Paladin shooting and they don't like Paladin shooting. Then she advances and checks her control to make sure that the unpainted Angelius is in there. No, he doesn't want a frenzy just yet, or if ever. So now the Legionnaires activate and they are doing the run order. Actually, no, he is charging with them. That way he can get their corpses into the pot straight away, as that's what they're there for. So he sent one out to run, and the others are charging that one in the back. And I just quickly check his reach range, and so one hits and kills and goes straight in the pot. And he is indeed in the pot. So there's a corpse soak in there. So then we have another charge attack going on a Legionnaire. 2 of them miss. Actually, 1 hits and kills him. And we have another hit and another kill. So there are 3 total corpse tokens inside of the pot. So he just set the Legionnaire models right next to the pot. That way I am helping him get his corpse tokens. The pasta pot, of course, activates and just advances up to be right behind the Legionnaires. Then the Spell Martyr activates and runs to be behind the Raefyll, and then the the Scythian activates and runs. Finally, the painted Angelius then runs and is on the hill and is kind of wobbly, so I toss him a proxy base. Then the Harrier goes, and that's it. Now you might have seen some adjustment because I took my first turn and I did it very, very badly. So for the sake of the battle report and for the sake of having this game interesting, I restarted my turn, so that's why you probably saw a bunch of models shifted over, which I allocated one over to the Spriggan, who ran, and then the Winchegard Rifle Corps are running since they can't really shoot anything. Then the Butcher goes and he puts Iron Flesh onto the Nyss, and he advances up to be behind the Spriggan. Then I am deciding what to do. next. Looking at its threat ranges and measuring my control, still getting an idea of what to do. So then in this go, and deciding how far to move them. So they advance, as they're looking to take some Zephyr shots. Some shots after moving up the Zephyr. And you probably noticed that some of these Nyss are missing pieces. They are the worst war machine unit in the game to build. Not because of the difficulty of putting them together, but because of how many parts there are. Those of you that have built them feel my pain. So now I'm deciding what to do next, as I still have quite a bit to go. So Gorman goes, he walks up, and he places a cloud, looking for the AoE 3 right now. Then Joe activates, he puts up, he put up Courage of the Forefathers, and then they have the Kayazy Eliminators activate and run to be in front of the Spriggan. The Great Bears go, they're running to be behind Butcher. And finally, I have Eiryss, who's running around, he's not very useful in this flank. And I have Aiyana and Holt run to be on the right side, as that's where I need their abilities much more often, and I don't even bother putting them. I'm not going to bother giving him stealth this entire game, because he has Isle of Sight across the table. There really is no point. Then the Widowmakers go, and they run to also readjust, as there's a bunch of stealth models in the way. And I'm sure the Winter Guard will be able to handle them quite nicely. So Legion turn 2 activates, and Raefyll leeches all of her fury, and he checks the kill box and starts deciding what to do, and is measuring his control. Just slightly past the rock. Get an idea of ranges. He's checking his control up to one of the rifle corps, getting an idea of his shooting range. He is speed 6 and his range 14, so that's a total beefy 20 inches of threat there. Still deciding what to do. Then he is going to activate the first Raefyll. He's wondering whether or not to put up its Animus. Also trying to decide what to shoot at. Measures Vale's control area once again. Then we're doing a debate on line of sight, and I walked across the table to help him out there. Then the Raefyll finally activates, walks over to my zone, and he puts up his Animus, and he's going to boost a hit on the Kayazy Eliminator. And he misses, so he deviates. He deviates to the 4. Actually, he deviates to the 1 or 4 inches, so he grabs a Nyss, and he grabs Spriggan, and leaves a Scather template in between both of them, and so that kills the Nyss, and sets the Spriggan on fire. Then he activates the Legionnaires, and he is advancing with them, going into base to base for that defensive line bonus. And notice how he's basically trying to bait me out with Raefyll by putting that one dude in front and leaving the rest behind so they can countercharge. Then he is then checking Vale's control area to get an idea of threat ranges once again, and he's particularly looking at the Spriggan. Then he is pointing at the Raefyll. He's considering channeling through the Raefyll after firing Vale's Oculus, I believe it is. But first he decides to activate the spawning vest, the spot, and just shimmies it over behind the Legionnaires. Note, the Legionnaires are stealth models, so if I'm shooting beyond 5 inches of them, they do not consider intervening models, so I can shoot at the bot if I wanted to. So now, the second Raefyll is going. He puts up his Animus, and he fires at the blonde Kayazy Eliminator hits her directly and kills her outright, sets the redhead Eliminator on fire, and she dies to blast damage. Oh well. They weren't really going to be useful this game because, I ignore yourself. Awesome. So then the Harrier goes, and he is considering running with him. Although he only measured, so he probably would have declared it in a tournament game, because that's how it works. Then Vale checks kill box, and is slightly inside of the kill box, so he needs to move up a little bit, which he does. And he checks it again, and now he's shooting at the... He puts up admonition onto the Ravagore that fired first, and also throws up tenacity on that Ravagore as well as on Vale. So Vale's sitting on 2 transfers right now. Still deciding what to do next. Checks control area once again. Then the Angelus that is on a proxy base takes a shot at a rifle corps who hits, and he dies, rolling a 4 for his stuff roll. And then he replaced the proxy base with the actual model, and Refuge is also on that angel, that's why he moved back. And the unpainted angel adjusts to be away from the wall, so since the Nyss have Hunter and they ignore cover. Then the Shredder activates, walks up, and puts tenacity onto the second Ravagore, and the Scythian walks up to be behind the rock, and that's it. And the fire goes out on the Spriggan. So Butcher gets his full stack and checks his control area, and he's looking to feat this turn. He's got Legion heavies in range, and Legion heavies die to mass POW 10 shots, especially ones that have 3d6 damage. So I activate Eiryss first, fire at the Ravagore, remove tenacity, and do a point to probably his 5, as that's what I usually do when I'm doing sniper shots. So then Butcher checks his control area, and I check kill box with him, and he's perfectly fine out. Then I move him up ever so slightly, check control area once again, and he pops his feet. Here comes all those glorious, glorious Weapon Master range attacks. Then Joe goes, he walks up, he puts up Courage of Our Forefathers, takes a shot at... Actually, he puts up boosted attack rolls. So for the Motherland, they take a shot at the Ravagore and deal some points of damage to it. Then the Widowmakers go, and they walk up, and they're starting to shoot at the Ravagore. Also rolling 3 dice to hit, and I'm marking which one 3 dice to damage, and also marking which ones do damage. And I'm not rolling a black die because sniper, so I can just allocate that damage where I wish. And the marksman goes, and he takes a shot at the same Ravagore, and he's a POW 12, so he's off 6 here, and does quite a good amount of damage to that Ravagore. It's looking pretty hurt, and that was just the Widowmakers and Joe. So now the Rifle Corps go, and they're advancing. They're also looking to finish off that Ravagore, and so I have to have them walk around the models, the Widowmakers and also Eiryss. So now I take a shot with the farthest Rifle Corps. He's out of feet range though. So then the next one goes. He hits, and he's also out. So then I'll have the one behind him go. And he's barely... Man, I'm rolling really badly in damage rolls here, which is not good, because I need all of these shots to really do something. So, that single Ravagore has absorbed a ton of POW 10 shots, and it's not dead yet. Usually I would be doing 3-4 points of damage with some spikes here and there. And there it goes, finally, after maybe taking 6 shots in total or so. So now I'm firing at the Possipot, and that's it for the Rifle Corps. They didn't do so hot, sadly enough. So I checked the line of sight on the Scythian with the spray template, as if you notice on the side of that, it has line of sight in determining a model range. So Gorman goes and he throws a black oil at the Scythian, and it grabs him with a great scatter. going towards the 2. And so that's the marker for black oil. So I don't really have to worry about the Scythian right now, which is awesome. I can focus on shooting down his Ravagors, and that's what really concerns me most in his army right now. So I checked Butcher's controller to get an idea of the Nyss range. And I'm asking him about line of sight to the Scythian. This game was before I purchased my laser, which you'll see in episode 6. Yes, I am doing the voiceovers on this after I voice episode 6. Weird, I know, but that's how it rolls. So Valachev Zephyrs up the Nyss, that way they can get in range for sure of the Ravagor. And so, doing some points, I actually did a CRA, I believe, although I only see one marked Nyss. So now they're still shooting, and doing some damage, not that much. Then Cylena fires at the Ravagor, and we're checking. It looks very close, so we measure instead from the Ravagor, and Cylena was just barely out. So then I do more damage with Nyss, and it's still alive. I really, really want him dead, and that's it for the Nyss. Look, so I only shot one heavy off the table, which is very, very bad. I really needed to get the alpha on him. That way I can slowly start peace trading towards my favor. As once the Ravagors go down, he only has a Scythian and two angels that can really mop through all my infantry. And that's a maximum of 12 attacks a turn. I have 2 full units that can be turned into Weapon Masters, or, well, Nyss are Weapon Masters, or Half Fury. So they can still do damage in melee once they actually connect. And so now it hops over to Legion, turn 3, and he's deciding what to do, and asks about the defensive stats on the Rifle Corps. And since they did boosted attack rolls this turn, they're actually not that great, so they'll die very fast, since they're only 12-13. Then he points at the Angel and the Pastapot, so now the Legionnaires are going to go, and they're going to issue a charge order, and this one Legionnaire is going to charge at Gorman. Okay. They're only mat 6, he needs an 8 to hit, so I'm not exactly too worried. So the rest of some others charge, and the others run to engage. So then the one that charged Gorman hits and kills him. Okay, that was not expected. So then he's checking control area, and also, well, so yeah, the rest of them ran to engage. And now the Pastapot is advancing to be inside of my zone. And now the Angel goes, and Angel charges my objective, and is going to armor pierce the objective and do quite a bit of damage to it. And he's going to buy an attack, hit it. Well, auto hit and doing more damage. So I'm counting down on damage here with the black die. And the Angel did not kill the objective, which is pretty good for me. But I'm still in quite a bad position, because I really needed to kill two heavies on my feet turn. He's still deciding what to do here. And he refuges the Angel next to the Scythian. And that's it for that Angel. Then he checks the control area on Veil. Get an idea of some ranges here. Checks again. And then is looking at placement for the Angelius. But first he activates the Ravagor, and he fires at, he activates the Harrier and puts up True Strike and automatically kills that Nyss, as that what True Strike does, and lets you automatically hit on your next melee attack. I believe it's melee attack. And that Harrier's done. So then he's looking at Veil once again. And the alive Ravagor takes a shot at the Nyss, and he hits quite in a money spot basically for him. And it clips 3 Nyss, and actually 2, because we didn't roll damage for the one that's ever so slightly out from the metal ring. So that's not exactly a bad Scather template for me, as bad as I thought it would be. So then Veil goes and she moves over to her zone, and she's throwing an oblit, I believe. Oh no, she throws Icy Grip on them to reduce their defense, so that way they're only defense 16 rather than the massive 18 thanks to Iron Flesh. So the Angelius goes and charges and kills that Nyss that it charged. Then I was about to do an overtake move for him, but he's like, no, it's once it's not engaged. So then he checks the but then he checks the card, and it's every time that it kills a model in melee. So there he goes. He buys a boosted attack and kills another Nyss, and he's not sure what to do because he thinks that with the 1-inch move he won't be able to get another Nyss. So then the Scythian forfeits action to move with Black Oil, and it's done. Then the Shepherds go, and they're managing Fury, because that's what they do. Then the second spell, the same Spellmartyr goes, runs, and turn passes over to me. So now I check control, and I knock over his Unpainted Angelius while checking control. So then I asked the defensive stats about the Angel, and he's currently 15-18 with Tenacity. And what I'm checking control area here was Spriggan's charge ranges. I thought so I was looking at charging the Spriggan Scythian or the Unpainted Angelius, but I determined that the Spriggan's base would not be able to cross over to the Scythian. So I activate Eiryss, and I have her aim to fire at the Unpainted Angelius, and she's out of range. So then I have Aiyana throw Kiss up onto the objective, and then Holt shoots at the objective. And I don't think he did any. He did some damage. So that's those dice up on the top are tracking how much damage the objective has taken. So then I activate the Nyss, and they're walking to basically try to attack the objective. Then I have Nyss, and Valachev, and Cylena walk as far away as possible from the Angelius' melee range now, so these two Nyss are attacking the objective, and they finish him off, which is great. I don't have to dedicate any more resources to the objective. So I'm currently up 1 control point, and now I'm swinging at the Angelius with the Nyss, so only one of them hit, and I don't think it did any damage. So I activate Butcher, and he goes over to my zone, and he casted something. Then the Spriggan goes and charges at the Angelius and does quite a bit of damage. Then I buy an attack with the spear, with the Warlance, hit, and kills that Angelius off without a problem. Then the Great Bears go, and they charge the Scythian. Oh yeah. So Yedovich and Kulsk, not Kulsk, Yedovich and Volkov are at the Scythian, so this is Volkov going first, he backswings, hits, and rolls absolutely poorly for damage, doing only like 2 points. So then the second attack goes, and there we go, there's 12 damage to him. Then Yedovich goes and also rolls really badly for damage, doing maybe like 4 points. Then his second attack with backswing hits does 6 more points. So it's not dead yet. It should have died, but oh well. Dice are dice for you, huh? So then I activate the Widowmaker Marksman and I shoot at the Scythian because I need to finish it off right now. You have to finish off, especially Legion Beasts, but War Beasts in general, you have to kill them. You have to one-round them. Otherwise, they can heal right back up and be at full efficiency with all the work that you've done. I could have done this earlier. I could have softened up the Scythian with the Widowmakers and the Marksman, but I anticipated that the Great Bears would be able to finish it off without a problem. But they didn't. So now I activate Joe, and he's going to take a shot at the Scythian, and he does For the Motherland, and he hits and does no damage. So I'm getting pretty desperate at finishing off the Scythian here. So then I have a bunch of them go into the zone, and I'm swinging with their axes, and here's a mistake that I made that was pointed out to me after the game. I should have put Fury onto the Rifle Corps because one of the Rifle Corps shooting managed to finish off the Scythian, which is completely not what I expected, but it happened. So the mistake I made here was that I should have put Fury onto the Rifle Corps so I can kill these Legionnaires, since they're only POW 8s. Then turn switches over to Legion turn 4, and he's down to 2 heavies, one of them shooting, and the other one's a melee one. So he's losing badly on the attrition war, especially since I still have Butcher and the Great Bears. I still have enough to kill his heavies. So now he's trying to decide what the best that he can do with all of his activations. But first, he sees Winterguard that do not have tough, so he goes with the Legionnaires and he issues a charge order, and most of these guys are not getting a bonus, but they don't need it anyway since I'm only armor 13, he's about 10. So on okay dice, he'll kill them all, which he will be doing, as you see. And these Winterguard corpses are going right into the pot. So notice just how fast these Winterguard drop when they have no defensive tech on them whatsoever. I've been playing Winterguard infantry a lot more than Rifle Corps, so I forgot how easy Rifle Corps die when they don't have Bob and Weave or Fearless and Tough. All the stuff that infantry normally have, Rifle Corps did not have on them at the time, so that's why most of the unit just disappeared. Oh, and also my objective died thanks to a shredder that popped up and boosted damage onto it. So now the Harrier is going and puts up. He attacks Cylena and leaves her on 1 box. So she's barely alive. And he's deciding what to do next. And the Rifle Corps activates and walks up. And he's staying just outside of melee range, and he's going to take a shot at one of the Nyss. And so I check blast with the widget, and 2 Nyss are set on fire, and so is Spriggan once again. And there's a scalar template once more. So then Raefyll goes. Actually, he hasn't activated anything just yet. He's looking at the Spriggan again. He asked about his stats. He might send the Angelius over there, but it'll take like a bunch of free strength. They'll take 2 free strengths from the Great Bears. So he's still deciding what to do? He's pointing at the Great Bears, asking about the Spriggan still. Now it says reach and how they have 360. So he activates Veil, she aims and fires her gun, the Oculus, and kills Volkov. And we checked range for the pot, and they say that Volkov was out of the range for it. So then she buys a shot and fires at Yadovich, and she fired off in a blit at the Spriggan and does some points of damage to him. And this is her feat turn, as she put ammunition on herself. And it still has a bunch of fury on her. So she buys a shot at Nyss and kills him off. And checks massive casualties, and they're A-OK. And the Shredder goes rabid and goes right at Yadovich. Forces a tough on him. Actually leaves him down to 1 point. So Yadovich is not dead yet. Then the Shepherd goes and removes all the fury from the Ravagore. Then the Angelius goes and charges at the Spriggan. And since they have 360, he never takes any free strikes, as the Angel's still in his melee range for both Great Bears. And this does quite a bit of damage. It knocks out, looks like, the right arm and the cortex, if I can read my markings on the card there. So then he buys an attack, and still doing quite a bit of damage to the Spriggan. And the Angelius refuges away. It takes no free strikes because that's refuge for you. Then turn swaps over to me, and a fire goes out on the Spriggan again, which is awesome. Just awesome. I still have two of his heavies in front of me with Great Bears and the Spriggan, but the right lance on the Spriggan is out, so it's basically ineffectual right now. I've also noticed just how little attacks I have left as well, since most of my infantry is dead. So Aiyana goes and kisses the pot, and then Holt shoots at the pot and did not do damage to it on the first shot, but he did some on the second one. So now Joe goes and puts up Courage of the Forefathers, and I don't think that he meets an attack with them. And again, I am doing POW 8 attacks, which is quite silly of me. Now I have the Widowmakers go in there and shoot at the pot, because I don't want him to get a corpse. Well, I don't want him to get another lesser out. So it has 2 on it, not 3. So if I kill the pot now, he will not be able to pop out another one. So I have the Widowmakers going, and one of them aims, and the Kapitan adjusts over. Actually, I have a second one aiming. Then I have the last one move around and takes a shot and does no damage. So the Kapitan fires. Sadly enough, because I'm trying to do more points to it rather than sniping it off. So bam, I have one of the aiming ones kill the pot, removes the rest of the unit, so this is great. But I still have a bunch of Legionnaires. So one of the Widowmakers was able to snipe out one of the Legionnaires engaging my Winterguard, which is great. But I still have to finish off the unit. So I take a shot at a Legionnaire, but I kill. No, I don't hit the one I fired at, but I still kill one of them. So now I have Butcher go, and he walks up and kills. So he kills 2 of them. There's still 1 left. Then I have the dog go and charge the last one. He hits and kills him, and the dog advances back. So I have this zone, but the Shredder's still there, so I can't dominate this zone. So I have the Great Bears go and advance around. So I'm looking to do some backswing attacks with Yedovich. And he hits and kills that Shredder outright. Then he swings onto the Ravagor, onto the Harrier. That was close. No, that was Yedovich. Oh, we're actually debating here of the attacks that I made. He's like, I have to completely finish them off. He lets me do it. But the other attacks that I had left were not able to really do much. So I have Cylena charge at the Angelius. Since she's Mat 7, so she'll be able to do something. Then I have Valachev run at the Scythian, and Cylena rolled quad 1s on a charged attack damage roll. She rolled 4 1s. Just one of those dice days, I guess. So then Legion turn 5 goes and leeches from the Shredder. And also I'm looking at the camera to make sure that everything's a-okay. As I was getting feedback that the battery was starting to go. But it's a-okay. So the game is still continuing. So then the Ravagor goes. He's pointing at the Ravagor, but that doesn't mean it hasn't activated yet. Still deciding what to do. So the Shepherd goes and heals the... Oh, he charges Cylena, hits... he charges Valachev and kills Valachev. So... things are happening in this game that shouldn't. So then the Ravagor walks up and is attacking the Great Bears in melee. So the first attack boosts to hit and causes a tough. And steady tough once again, but the next one kills Kolsk. So then he buys and boosts an attack on Yedovich, who dies. How exciting! And the Angelius goes and charges at the Spriggan and does a bunch of damage to it. That Spriggan has been abused all game and has... Oh! At least he's happy now. He's dead! He doesn't have to face any abuse anymore from that stupid tail from the Angelius. So now the Angelius refuge is over to engage Holt and a bunch of Widowmakers as well as Aiyana. And then, interesting, I should also point out, is that Butcher is not able to charge it. He has to walk and melee it. So the Spell Martyr activates and runs. So then Vale goes and shoots and kills Cylena. Then he's checking the range for something at the Spell Martyr, and I believe she was out of range for that spell that she casted. So then the Shredder goes, puts up Rabbit, kills a Rifle Corps, buys an attack, kills another Rifle Corps. Hey look, I have one Rifle Corps dude left. Awesome. And then Shepherd goes up and contests the zone. Again. So it's looking quite bad for me. Then it's my turn. I have Joe go, take a shot at Veil. I really don't know why I'm shooting at Veil here, but he misses with triple ones. And I have the rifle corps go aim and fire at the Shepherd. He misses. Then I have... I'm shooting with somebody. I'm doing an attack with somebody that I don't know who. So then I have the dog walk up to a Shredder and kill the Shredder. Awesome. Now, I'm really running out of options here. So I measure my range. I'm measuring control areas with Eiryss and take a shot and roll double ones and miss. I rolled double ones. Great, just great. So I have to commit Butcher to kill this angel, otherwise this angel will wipe out the rest of my army, but at the same time I won't be able to get any scenario points, control points. So we're currently 1-1, 2-1 in his favor, and he will go up to 3-1 because there's nothing else in my zone. All I have in my zone is Eiryss and also a rifle corps. So I was doing well, pretty well all game, but I have to commit models to really do something in his zone, and I'm shooting at Veil. Again, I don't know why, instead of killing the stupid Ravagore. So I'm committing models, like such as the Widowmakers, but it still doesn't matter really, because I can't. Butcher is not in threat range of the Ravagore. I'm just trying to throw as many shots at Veil as possible. I'm trying to do something. I felt like I could kill her for some reason, which is not possible. So then it is now Legion turn 6. And he's looking to... So he asks about the counter charge range of the dog. And the Shepherd charges and kills the rifle corps. So that's that. And the dog was not able to countercharge the Shepherd because it's out of his... You can't see it. Just like that, you can't see it. How exciting. Then he asks about Whiplash and also her defense. He's also pointing at the Widowmakers because he's trying to decide how to kill them. Although it'll be quite simple on how to take them out. So the Shepherd goes and charges and hits a Widowmaker. Actually, no, missed by 1 because I believe it's Mat 5. However, she is engaging Holt, which is kind of important. So Veil is checking her control area. And he's trying to get an idea of the range for the Ravagore. He wants the Ravagore to kill Eiryss, so he has to commit it, he has to boost to hit, he has to move, so he can't aim, but he hits with the shot anyway. And just like that, Eiryss dies. And so now Veil is going to... He asks about the counter-charge range of the dog, and he's trying to decide where to commit Eiryss. I mean, Veil. And... still deciding the range, getting an idea what 6 inches looks like as well. And he runs Veil to the very tip of the... And that's it, and that's games. He dominates for 5 control points, and that's it. Just like that.
I had a turn in this game. I'm not exactly where it was. I felt like I was doing well. My opponent told me that if I had killed the Legionnaires earlier with a rifle core instead of trying to break armor with their POW 8s, if I threw like Fury and Bear Strength on them, I would have been in a better advantage point. Because when I killed the pot, he wasn't able to continue with the attrition advantage, and I was also slowly killing all of his heavies. So post in the comments section below what you think I should have done better. And thanks for watching. Until next time, this is the news from the front.